So where you input, for example, where you input employee number, suppose employee registration form is there. This is employee registration form. So where I try to input employee number and employee name, employee name, and then what? Salary. Now assume that this is some employee registration form. This is employee registration form. So where you enter employee number and name and enter which one? Salary, and then click on register. But you try to enter this employee number. You try to enter employee number, okay, name of the employee and salary into one field. Okay, assume that this is one field. This is called as which field here? Text field. Okay, this is one field and this is called as which field? Text field. And whatever you input inside the text field is treated as what? String. Whatever values you input inside the text field is treated as what? String. Okay, you enter the value in text field. Okay, this is a text field again. Okay, but whatever value input inside the text field is treated as a string. But when I say click on register, I try to register all this within the database. Okay, assume that this is a database and this database is having a table and this table is having some 3 columns. And the first column is, okay, first column is employee number. First column is employee number, second column is name, and third column is what? Salary. But employee number is a column of which type? Integer type. And employee name is a column of which type? String type. And salary is a column of which type? Float type. So it means I need to put this employee number inside which field? Employee number field. But employee number you enter in which type? Integer. But when I read, I input the value as integer, but when I read, it read as which type? String type. I input the value as integer, but when I read it, read as which type? String type. But in the database table, employee number is which type? Integer type. But I input the value as which type? String. Now can I insert this 101 inside employee number field? No. What I have to do? I have to convert this string to what? I have to convert this string to what? Integer. I have to convert this string to what? Integer. I have to convert this float to what? This string to what again? Float. How can I convert this string to float? How can I convert this string to integer? Now I need to take the help of which function? Integer function. Not only that, when you do some arithmetic operations, suppose 1.5 plus some 1.2, 1.5 plus 1.2, I get the result as 2.7. But I don't want to take which part? Decimal part. I want to take only which part? Integer part. I don't want to take decimal part, but I want to take only which part? Integer part. Then what I have to do? I have to convert this result back into which type? Integer. So when I say integer, then it takes only integer part. So I converted result from float to what? Integer. So when you do certain arithmetic operations, you may get the result as what? Float. When you do arithmetic operations, you may get the result as a float. For example, 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2, you get the result as what? 2.0. But I don't want 2.0. I want only 2. Then what I do? I convert this float to what here? Integer. I convert this float to integer. But how this conversion is done? By using the function called integer. Now these conversions are very much useful in application development. So just to see here, now first one is integer to integer. Suppose integer of, see here, how many syntaxes are there? 2 syntaxes. So first one is integer of, and second one is integer of x. X is nothing but value and base equal to what? 10. But this for the functions written which type of value? Integer value. So I try to input a value integer of 25. But 25 is a value of which type? Integer. So integer to which conversion? Integer conversion. If I'm saying print type of which one? A. A is a variable of which type here? Integer type. A is a variable of which type? Integer type, right? Then B equal to integer of I just write here 1.5, but actually 1.5 is a value of which type? Float, and you are converting float to what? Integer, right? So if I say print B, what is the value of B? 1. Okay, 1 because it doesn't take which part? Decimal part or fractional part? It doesn't take decimal part or fractional part, right? Then C equal to integer of which one? True. But actually true is which type of value? Boolean. And true representation is 1. So the value of C is 1 here. Okay. And D equal to integer of false. And false representation is what here? 0. True representation is 1 and false representation is what? 0. So whenever you convert a float to integer, it truncates which part? Whenever you convert float to integer, it truncates which part? Decimal part or fractional part, and it takes only which part? Integer part. So what is the value here? 1. Suppose if I'm writing some e equal to integer of some 125 point some 6789. So what is this 125.6789? It is a value of which type? Float type. When you convert float to integer, it will take only which part? Integer part, without taking which part? Fractional part or decimal part. So what is the value of e? 125. It just truncates. It just truncates which part here? Fractional part or decimal part, and takes only which part here? Integer part. It just terminate which part here? Fractional part, and take only which part here? Integer part. Okay. So this is a first syntax, that is converting integer to integer, float to integer, and boolean to integer, right? Yes. Float to integer and boolean to integer. There is one more syntax is here, that is syntax 2. Syntax 2 is used. Okay, this syntax is used. Okay, this syntax is used to convert string to, okay, string to what here? Integer. This is to convert string to integer, or to convert integer represented as integer represented as integer represented as which type? Stringer. To which type here? Integer type. Now here you have a base. Okay, you have a base here. I said integer is represented in how many formats? 4 formats. One is, what is the first one? Decimal integer. And second one is octal integer. Third one is hexadecimal integer, and fourth one is binary integer. What is the base of the decimal integer? 10. What is the base of the octal integer? 8. What is the base of the hexadecimal integer? 16. What is the base of binary integer? 2. So you can create a decimal integer using all the digits from 0 to 9, and you can create an octal integer using all the digits from 0 to 7. You can create hexadecimal integer using digits from 0 to 9 and A to F. And binary integer you create with how many digits? 2 digits. One is 0 and one more is a 1. So there is a decimal integer and there is octal, and there is hexadecimal, and one more is what? Binary. So decimal integer base is 10. Okay, decimal integer base is 10. Okay. Decimal integer is a 10, right? So because you create this integer by using all the digits from 0 to 9. An octal integer is 8 because you create this number by using all the digits from 0 to 7. An hexadecimal integer you create by using all the digits from 0 to 9 and A to F. And binary integer you create with how many digits? 2 digits. That is 0 or 1. 0 or 1. Okay. Now here you have to give the value. What is the default value here? You have to give the value. You have to give the value inside the string. You have to give value inside the string. That value base should be what? You have to give the value within the string, and that value base should be what? 10. Means inside the string you have to give which value? Decimal integer value. You have to give which value? Decimal integer value. If you give octal integer value, then you have to change this base from 10 to what here? 8. If you are giving hexadecimal integer value, then you have to give from 10 to what? 16. If it is binary integer, then you have to give base as what? 2. It means the string, within the string you can have inside the string, for example, inside the string, if I'm writing 65, you have to tell inside the string which value is there. Integer value is there, but what is the base of this value? What is the base of this value? 10. What is the base of this value? 10. If I'm writing within double quotes, okay, 0b. If I'm writing 0b1010, inside the string which type of value is there? Inside the string which type of value is there? Integer only, but in which format? Binary format. You have to say base equal to what? 2. Within the double quotes, if I'm writing 0xab, then you have to tell the integer function within the string integer is there, but the base of this integer is what? 16. If I'm writing 0o, if I'm writing 45, inside the string which type of value is there? Integer value is there, but what is the base of this here? 8. Suppose if I don't give the base, what will happen is, for example, within double quotes, if I'm writing 0, 0b101, okay, suppose if I don't give the base, what is the default base it consider? What is the default base it consider? 10. But within double quotes, okay, is it this integer? This is integer, right? But this integer, is it prefixed with 0b? Is it decimal integer is prefixed with 0b? No. Then immediately it gives which error? Value error. Immediately it gives which error? Value error. Value error is raised. Now you have to tell this integer is which type. You have to tell this integer is what? Which type? Which type? It is in which format? This integer is in which format? If the within double quotes, if integer is decimal format, you have to give the base as what? 10. Within the double quotes, if integer is binary format, you have to tell now this is binary integer to binary string integer represented as a string to what? Integer. Integer represented as string to what? Integer. Integer represented as string to what? Integer. But all these integers are same formats or different formats? Different formats. Then you have to supply which value? Base value. If you don't supply the base value, what will happen? You'll get the error. If you don't supply the base value, then you'll get the error here. Okay, you get the error. Suppose, assume that I'm writing like this, n1 equal to integer of within double quotes. Whatever you write in the double quotes or single quotes or triple quotes is called a string, right? So I just write here 45. 45 is which value? Integer. But represented as which type? Okay, now. Then what is the base of this number? 10. The base of this number is what? 10 only. Okay. So is it conversion is done or not? Yes. So what is n1 value? 45. Suppose if I'm writing s1 within double quotes, I just write 67. S1 is a variable of which type? S1 is a variable of which type? String. I want to convert this to which type? Integer. Then I'll write Integer of which variable? S1. What is the value of S1? 67. But 67 is which type? String type. But the string is converted to which type? Integer type. If I'm writing type of N2, N2 is which type? Integer type. Now can you do arithmetic on this? Yes. Okay. So you are converting whatever you write in the double quotes. Whatever you write in the double quotes, it is treated as what? String. Inside the string, which type of value is there? Integer value is there. I want to convert this integer represented as what? String to which type? To which type? Integer type. Then I'm using which function? Integer function. Okay, if I'm writing some S2 equal to within double quotes, okay, 0B101. Within double quotes, which type of value is there? Within double quotes, which type of value is there? Integer value. But this integer is in what? Binary. This integer is what? Binary. If I'm saying n3 equal to integer of s2, what will happen? What will happen? Will it do conversion? What is a default base? What is a default base? 10. Because see, if you are giving any other type of value within, if any other type of value is there within the string, you have to tell what? Type. If any other type of value is there within the string, you have to tell what? Type. If any other type of value is there within the string, you have to tell what? Type. Okay, within double quotes, which type of value is there? Integer. But in which format? Binary format. But are you given the base? No. Then immediately it gives which error? Value error, saying that invalid value, invalid return for integer with base what? 10. Base 10. Then you have to tell the integer function. You have to tell the integer function saying that this string is having which type of value? Integer value only, but it is in which format? Or it is in which format? Binary format. Okay, then if I say print n3, what is the value of n3? 5. It is displayed in which format? Decimal. If you want in binary format, use which function? Binary function. But what is the type of n3? Just see type of n3, and n3 is a variable of which type? Integer type. n3 is a variable of which type here? Integer type. So until you don't define, see what is the default? What is the default base it takes here? 10. Okay, if you give any other type of value within the string, you should tell the integer function, this value base is not 10. This value base is not 10. This value base is what? 2. This value base is what? 16. This value base is what? 8. If you don't give the base, then what is the default base it takes? 10. If it is any other base, then you have to supply the value of which one? Base. You have to supply the value of base. Okay. For example, assume that S4 or S3, S3 equal to within double quotes. I'm saying 0xEAB. So within double quotes, which type of value is there? Integer. Okay, but this is in which format? Alright, this integer is in which format? Hexadecimal. This integer is in which format? Hexadecimal format. What will happen if I'm saying n4 equal to integer of s3? Tell me, will it do conversion or gives error? Gives a error, right? This gives an error. Why? Because within the string, which value is there? Integer is there, but this is in which format? Hexadecimal. But by default, integer uses which conversion? Decimal. But I have to give base as what here? 16. But are you given? No. Then immediately it is given which error? Value error. To avoid this error, what do you do it? Integer of S3. S3 comma base equal to what? 16. Then is it done the conversion or not? Yes. Okay, this is done the conversion. Okay, now what is the type of N4? N4 is a variable of which type? integer. If I say N4, it display in decimal format. If you want in hexadecimal, use HEX of N4. Tell me now, N5 equal to within double quotes 0 I said 0 some 25. Whatever you write in the double quotes, it is called as what again? String. If I'm saying, suppose N5 or S5 or something, S5 equal to within double quotes 0 then I'm saying N5 equal to integer of S5. Can I write like this? If I'm writing integer of S5, will it do the conversion or gives error? Gives a error. Why? Because I should give a integer of S5. What is S5 here? 0 S5 0 right? 0 what is that? 25. N5 equal to integer of S5. This is given which one? Error, saying that invalid return for integer with base 10. Okay, you have to give the base as an integer of S5 and base equal to which one? 8. And if you say print type of N5, N5 is a variable of which type here? Integer type. Integer type. And you can print the value of N5, which is nothing but 21. And this is in which format? Decimal format. If you want in octal format, use which function? Octal function. So that will return value in which format? Octal format. Okay, see here. Different, yes. This is a syntax 2. This is a syntax 2. Syntax 2 is for converting. Syntax 2 is for converting string to what? Integer. Syntax 2 is for converting string to integer. Syntax 1 converting float an integer, right? Yes. See, you have to practice. If you don't practice and if you are attending class regularly, you will not get anything. You have to practice. You have to install Python. Python is not virus. Okay, you can install happily in your system. Okay, Python is not a virus. It is a software. Okay, so nothing will happen to your system. Okay, try to install the Python software in your system and try to practice. Okay, because if you are very good in basics, then remaining things becomes very easy for you. If you are not good in basics, then it will be a problem for you on. Okay. So this is how you are writing it. Yes. So just try to understand how you are trying to do the conversion. So conversion is useful, right? So conversion, so it is like this. For example, see here, again I'm repeating it. N1 equal to within double quotes. Integer values there, but this integer values in which format? Hexadecimal format. Within double quotes integer is there, but this integer in which format? Hexadecimal format. So what will happen here? It will create which object? Integer object. What is the name of this object here? N1. N1 is there. Okay, N1 is the object. And what is the value of this object? 0x AB. And what is the type of this object? What is this object here? String object. Okay, string object. And I want to convert the string object to which object? I want to convert this string object to which object? Integer object. I want to convert the string object to which object? Integer object. What do you have to do? You have to say n2 equal to integer of which one? N1. N1 is which one? String. N1 is which one? String. Inside the string, which value is there? Integer value is there. Inside the string, which value is there? Integer value is there. But this integer is in which format? Hexadecimal. So convert hexadecimal integer of string to what? Integer. Convert hexadecimal integer of type string to what? Integer. Then you'll say base equal to what? 16. Then what is the value of this here? 0x AB. But container is same and content is also same type. This is N2. Okay, this is which type here? Integer. Now suppose if I'm writing N3 equal to 0B101. Okay, now whatever you write in the double quotes, it is called as which one? String. This is N3. N3 is a variable. N3 is a variable, and this N3 is which type? String type. And what is the value of this here? 0B101. So this is a which type of value? Integer. But in which format? Binary format. Now I want to convert this. I want to convert this into which type? I want to convert this to which type? Integer type. I want to convert this to which type here? Integer type. Then how can I convert this to integer type? N4 equal to integer of which one? N3. And what is the base? What is the base here? 8. If I don't give the base 8, what is the base? What is the base it takes? 10. But is it integer? Is it decimal integer is prefixed with 0B? No. Is it decimal integer is prefixed with 0B? No. Which integer is prefixed with 0B? Binary. You have to tell the integer function, this is not a decimal, this is not a decimal, this is what here? Binary. So you are telling the integer function, now this is not a decimal, this is what? Binary. Then integer object is having 0B101. And what is the type of this object? N4. See, one type of container to what? Another type. So string container converted to which container? Integer. String to which container? Integer. But suppose okay, suppose now you cannot convert this. For example, A equal to 1.5. A equal to what here? 1.5. 1.5 is which value? Float value. Okay. Float value inside what? String. Float value is there inside string. If I'm writing B equal to integer of A, if I'm saying B equal to integer of A, will it convert the string to integer? No, because within double quotes you required only which value? Integer value. Which integer? Decimal integer, octal integer, hexadecimal integer, and one more is binary. But if it is having float, then it gives what? Error. So invalid literal for integer with base what? 10. Is it this value base is 10 or no? Because first of all, it is not a integer. Is it this value base is a 10? No. First of all, this is not a integer. This is which type of float? Then how can I convert float represented as which type? string to which type? Float. For that, you are using float function. For that, you are using which function? Float function. Okay. So here, just see some example on integer function. Write a program, suppose integer function. So write a program to input, okay, roll number and two subject marks and calculate. What should I calculate? Total. After input three values, I have to calculate which one? Total. To calculate the total, right? So first, I'm reading, suppose input name, otherwise input name, and how many subjects here? Two subjects. So name equal to input. Enter name of which one? Student. Input name of the student, and then subject one. Input enter subject one marks. Then subject two. Input enter which one? Subject two marks. Okay, I try to input subject one marks. I try to input subject two marks. I try to input what? Name. So how many values I'm trying to input here? Three values. That is name, subject one, and one more is a subject two, right? But all these are the variables of which type? All these variables are which type? Input will read the value as which type? String type. Input function read the values as which type? String type. If you want, you can verify. Print type of which one? Name, and type of subject one, type of name, type of subject one, type of what here? Subject two. So I want to know input values are which type. Suppose name of the student is Naresh. Okay, this Naresh is a value assigned to which variable? Okay, Naresh is a value assigned to which variable? Name. Naresh is a value assigned to name. Then I try to input subject one marks. This 89 is assigned to which variable? Subject one. Okay, and I try to enter 99. This 99 is assigned to which variable? Subject two. 89 is a value of which type? Integer. 99 is a value of which type? Integer. But input function return this values as which type? String type. 89 is 89 is assigned to subject one in which format? String. So what will happen if I press enter? Now you can see name is which type? String. Subject one is which type? String. Subject two is which type? String. Can you add strings? Can you add strings? No. If you add strings, will it do addition or concatenation? Concatenate. Suppose if I'm saying total equal to subject one plus subject two. And if I print total, if I print what is that? Total, what will happen? Suppose I run this. This is the name of the student, and this is a subject one, and this is a subject two. What is the total? 69 and 89. Is it done addition or concatenation? Concatenation, because the subject one, subject two are which type? String type. Now to do addition, what I have to do? To do addition, what I have to do? I have to convert this subject one into which type? Integer type. I have to convert this subject two into which type? Integer type. I converted subject one into which type? Integer type. And subject two also which type? Integer type. Then after that, I'm displaying the name. Okay, name, comma, name, and print. I want to print subject one, comma, what is the name of the variable? Subject one. And I want to print subject two, comma, subject two, and print total marks, and comma, what is that? Total. So this is the input. This is what your input, and this is a process, and this is what your output. So every program is having how many operations? Three operations. One is the input, and second one is a process, and third one is a output. So input is given from keyboard or not? Yes. So input name, input subject one, input what? Subject two. Then what is the next thing? Calculate. Calculate what? Total. And after calculating total, you're displaying the name, subject one, subject two, and total. Input, process, and output. Now input the name of the student. This is a name, and this is subject one and subject two. You can see now what is the name of the student? Naresh. Subject 160, subject 290, and total marks is what? 150. Is it done addition or concatenation? Addition. How it is done addition? We converted the subject 1 to integer. We converted subject 2 to integer. Because input always read the values. Input always read the values as which type? Or input always read the values as which type? String type. Input always read the values as string type. If you want to do any arithmetic, you have to convert those strings again to which type? Numeric type. Okay, then next function is yeah, this integer conversion. Is it clear, right? How many syntaxes are there in integer? Two syntaxes are there. Integer function is having two syntaxes. One is integer with a value and integer with a value with the base 10. So first syntax is used to convert integer to integer, float to integer, and boolean to integer. But second syntax is for converting string to integer. Converting string to integer, or to convert integer represented as string to what? Integer. But within string, the value can be in which format? Decimal. The value can be in which format? Octal. Within string, the value can be which format? Hexadecimal. Within string, value can be which format? Binary. If the value is decimal, you have to give the value of base as what? 10. Within the string, if the value is binary, you have to give the base as what? 2. Within the string, if the value is hexadecimal, then you have to give base as what? 16. Within the string, if the value is octal, you have to give base as what? 8. So because you are trying to give with the different base values, right? Then next is one more conversion function is there. And what is it is? There is one more conversion function is there, and that function is a float here. Float function is there. So this is float function. Okay, float function. Okay, now this function, see it is also built-in function, and this function return, okay, returns which value? Float value. Or create which object? Float object. This function returns float value or create which object? Float object. Very important. All these conversion functions are very important because when you are working with the data science, you may, to perform any operation on the data, you require a data, right? So this data might be comes in different formats. For example, data is available in which file? Text file. Suppose if you are working with the data science projects, data is available in which file? Text file. So what text file is? Text file contain which type of data? String data. Suppose within text file there is 1.5. Is it 1.5 is a float or stringer? Stringer. Because it is there in which file? Text file. Okay, because it is there in the text file, so 1.5 is not a float. 1.5 is which value? String value. If you read this value, right? If you read this value, it will read as which type? String type. Ring honor. So on string, can you do any arithmetics? No. You cannot do arithmetic on string. You have to convert this string again back to which one? Float. For example, I want to write, suppose I just write here some a equal to 3.5. 3.5 is a value. Now a is a variable of which type? Float. I want to write this float value into which file? Text file. But text file allows only which type? String. But this is which value? Float. What do you have to do? Convert this float to what? You have to convert this float to what? String. To convert this float to string, is it a required some conversion function or not? Yes. Conversion functions are very much useful because you may get the data in different types. Okay, you may get the data in different types and different formats. Okay, you may get the data in different types and different formats. It is a responsibility of programmer to convert one type of data to another type. But you are doing this conversion with the help of type conversion functions. Type conversion functions, that is integer, float, and all the things, right? This function returns float value or create which object? Float object. So there is only one syntax is there. You don't have any multiple syntaxes for this. So float of which one? Value. Float of value, and this value can be so this function performs following conversions. So what are the conversions it will perform? Like float to float, float to float, integer to what? Float, and boolean to float. Okay, now then next one is string to float. How many conversions it will do? It will do 4 conversions. What is the first one? Float to float. What is the second one? Integer to float. And what is the third one? Boolean to float. And then string to float. Generally, you don't do Boolean to float because in application development always Boolean represented as true or false. Okay, suppose if you want to do some arithmetic on Boolean, because internal representation of Boolean is 1 or 0. So true represent 1 and false represent 0. So most of the times you convert Booleans to what? Integers, but you never convert Booleans to what? Floats. But even you can convert Booleans to what? Float by using which function? Float function. So why you do this conversions is, for example, you are developing a program in Python, right? This is Python. This is Python program. Okay. So Python program, assume that is writing data into one text file. Python program is writing data into one text file. Text file is there. Okay now. So here in Python program, I just write a equal to true. And this text file, assume that this text file is read by another program. Which program? C program. This text file is read by which program? C program to perform certain operations. But C doesn't understand what is true. In C language, this Boolean true is represented as 1 and Boolean false is represented as what? 0. Then what I have to do? I have to convert this true into what? 1. Then to convert this true into 1, I have to use which function now? To convert this true into 1, I have to use which function? Integer function. Now this integer function convert this true to what here? 1. So that 1 can read by which file, which program? C program. It means this conversions means don't think that only converting float to float, integer to float, boolean to float. When you required, you convert one type of value to another, right? Yes, float to float. So this value can be either float or integer or boolean or string. Here, this value can be float or integer or boolean or what is that? String. It can be any type of value here, right? Okay, suppose, for example, I'm writing f1 equal to float of, okay, float of, okay, I just write 1.25. 1.25 is already, 1.25 is already float. You are converting float to float, right? Then f2 equal to float of, within double quotes, 1.25. If I write within double quotes, is it float or string? String. But inside the string, which value is there? Float is there. So this is converting string to float. But inside the string, which value should be there? Float value should be there, right? F3 equal to float of, within double quotes. I just write 125 e minus 2. 125 e minus 2. What is this 125 e minus 2? This is which value? This is which value? 125 e minus 2 is which value? Which value? What happened? 125 e minus 2 is which value? Float value or not? Yes, it is also which value? Float value, but in which format? Float value, but in which format? Exponential format. Array, what here? इसलिए मैं बोलता हूँ पढ़ो बोल के. If you are not reading, then it's very difficult. You have to read. You have to read here. If you are not reading, then difficult. Hexadecimal, binary integer. We have seen all this or not? Binary integer, base conversion functions here. Float denoted, float value represented in how many notations? 2 notations. Fixed and one more is exponential. Fixed notation and one more is exponential. Okay. In exponential, you are using one character. What is that? E. 30 March. 30 March, we have done that. Okay. Yes. Syntax is float of value. You have to read. If you read and come to the class, every class you can understand easily. If you don't read and come to class, every class is demo only. New class, new Python. Every class is a new Python language. But one concept is linked with another. Okay, now whatever you are learning in sequence, A, B, C, D sequence. Okay, ring on it. In a sequence means First chapter things you learn in, you implement in second. Second chapter things you implement in third chapter. If you are not reading first chapter, then you cannot understand second. If you don't read a second, then you cannot understand first, second, third also. Python certificate you'll give, they'll give your certificate, no problem. No exam. For getting certificate, no exam is there. Naresh Shetty certificate they'll give. If you today also, if you submit your ID card, they'll give certificate. But what do you do without knowledge? आपको होना बोले तो 100 सर्टिफिकेट दे दे तो मैं क्या करते हैं यार? कितने इंस्टीट्यूट्स को होना आपको सर्टिफिकेट्स होना क्या? पूरा अमीरपेट पूरा सर्टिफिकेट दे देता हूँ आपको, क्या करते? कुछ नहीं कर सकते. You cannot do anything until you don't have stuff. You have to read and come to the class here. If you don't read it and come to the class, then next time onwards I don't ask any questions. What I will do is I'll do my job. Miss, you understood? Huh? I do my job means जाता रहता बस उतना है, कुछ भी नहीं पूछूंगा मैं फिर. खाली बोल के चले जाता हूँ मैं. I'll just teach and then go. No interaction, nothing. You want that kind of teaching? Huh? No. Then if interaction is not there, it is not you don't get that much interest, right? Question and answer should be there in the class. When I'm asking questions, then you have to answer. If you're not answering it, then waste. Okay. So try to learn. See, you paid the fees, right? Okay. Now 4,000 is not a small amount. You have to justify. Getting or not? You have to justify, means when you paid the fees, you have to learn the subject perfectly. Lot of content we are teaching, right? You have to read every day. Some hostelers are there. Hostel में जाके क्या करते हैं यार? After the class, go to hostel and then read for 1 hour. No, I'm not saying sit for Python for 24/7. I don't want you to become PhDs. Huh? Yes or no? Okay, just to sit for 1 hour. Only 1 hour. Whatever you learn today, only 1 hour you spend. Happily, you can finish the Python. Only 1 hour is enough. You don't require to spend 24/7. एक घंटा बैठे तो बस से पूरा सीख के आराम से सीख सकते हैं आप. एक घंटा बैठना बस उतना है. खाली आज जो बोला, एक घंटा बैठ के पढ़ लो, बस उतना है. अभी वो एक घंटा भी आपको नहीं बोले तो I cannot say anything. 1 hour if you are not spending and if you want to get a job, I cannot say anything. 1 hour you spend it. That's it. Not required to spend more number of hours. Only 1 hour. Whatever I say in the class, you practice 1 hour. That is enough to become a good programmer. You spend 5 to 6 hours, or how many hours you spend on mobile? 24/7. कुछ मिलता क्या? कुछ नहीं मिलता. Nothing you'll get except faltu knowledge and eyesight. That's it, right? Will you get anything? Nothing you'll get. इंस्टाग्राम में देखते रहते, कोई की डालते, बस उतना है. देखते रहते, क्या होता? कुछ नहीं होता. No use. But spend 1 hour. 1 hour आप पाइथन को देखो यार, बस उतना है, बस है। अभी इससे ज्यादा नहीं बोल सकता मैं, right? Anyway, float function is there. This function returns which value? Float value. Or create which object? Float object, right? So here value can be, now this is, अब स्ट्रक हो गए ना, अगर आप पढ़े तो ये स्ट्रक नहीं होती, चले जाते आराम से, गुजर जाता। अगर यहाँ पे स्ट्रक हो गए, क्यों? प्रीवियस क्लास नहीं पढ़े आप लोग, इसलिए यहाँ पे स्ट्रक हो गए। पढ़े तो स्ट्रक नहीं होते ना। स्पीड ब्रेकर्स आता क्या? नहीं आता। देखते ही मालूम है ना, अरे ये कौन सा वैल्यू है बोल के। जब भी आपको, then only you should think that I know Python. This is, if you don't say this is which type of value, it means you don't know Python. प्रोग्राम देख के आप बताना ये क्या है बोल के, क्या लिखे बोल के। कोई भी नहीं बोलता। सपोज यू ज्वाइन इन द कंपनी, एक स्मॉल प्रोजेक्ट दे के पढ़ो बोलता हूँ, ओपन करके देखो क्या है इसमें बोल के, क्या करते? Okay, now this is within double quotes. Whatever value you are writing, that is a string, but this is which value? Float. And this is also which value? Float. F4 equal to float of, within double quotes, array 34. 34 is which value? Integer. So will it convert this string to float? Yes. So because when you're saying a float can be with a decimal point or without decimal point. Without decimal point, I can say this is integer, but this is a this float function treat this value as which type? Float only, but without decimal part. But actually it is integer to float. Now if you say print f1, f2, f3, f4, how many values you are printing? All 4 values: 1.25, 1.25, 1.25, and 34.0. 1.25 means 125 into 10 to the power of 2 is nothing but 125 divided by 100, which is equivalent to 1.25. F4, F5. Okay, F5 equal to float of. Okay, I just write here what? True. Now, what is the value of F5? 1.0. 1.0. F6 equal to float of. Float of what here? False. So what is the value of F6 here? 0.0. 0.0, right? This is how you're doing float conversion. But can you write F7 equal to float of, within double quotes what? AB. Is it AB is a floater? No, AB is not a float. Then will it do conversion or error? Error. Which error? Value error. Value error. Could not convert string to what? Float. Value error. See, type is correct only. What is the input? What is it? What is the input you are given? String. But that string should contain which value? Float value. But is it AB is a float value? No. Then immediately it is rise which error? Value error. Value error. So sometimes I'm asking, when you get value error? When will you get value error? When function receive valid input, but value is incorrect, then you'll get which error? Value error. Input type is correct, but the content of that input type is what? Incorrect. Then you'll get which error? Value error. Yes. For example, assume that, yeah, please. You have to learn so many things. Lot of content is there. Okay. Lot of subject you have to learn. Okay. Yes. So these are only basics. Now you write very good programs. Okay. And some beautiful concepts are there in Python, which makes programming more easier. The concepts which you don't find in any programming language, that you find in what? Python. That is where Python is so popular compared to other programming languages, right? Write a, suppose, one more example, right? So write a program to add, to print the sum of two float values, input float values from, input for float values from where? Keyboard. Input this float values from keyboard. Input float values from where? Keyboard. So input these values from keyboard, right? Then how input how many values? Two values. What is the name of this variable? A. A equal to input. Enter. Enter first what? Float value. Prompt or not? What is this string is called prompt. Okay, prompt and B equal to input. Enter second float value. Enter first float value and enter second float value. Then C equal to A plus B. Then print A value, print A value, B value, C value, and I'm using separator as what? Backslash N. Is it these values are printed by using which separator? New line. After printing A value, it insert new line. After printing B value, it insert new line. After printing C value, it insert new line. But are you done any conversion here? No. But input will read value as which type? Or input will read value as which type? String. Input reads the value as which type? String. Enter first float value which is 1.5. Enter second float value which is 2.5. What is the result now? You can see 1.5, 2.5. What is C value? 1.5, 2.5. Is it combined or added? Combined. Is it combined or added? Combined. Why it is combined? Because AB or which type? String type. Then to add, what I have to do? Convert. Convert this A value into which type? Float. Convert this B value is also into which type? Float. Float. Yes. Now run this. Now I'm saying 1.5 and 2.5. You can see 1.5, 2.5, and this value is 4.0. Now, is it done the addition or concatenation? Addition. Because we converted input value as which type? Float. So I want to convert this result again back to integer. I want this result should be in what? Integer. Then what do you do it? Integer of what? Result. When you add this float and float, you get the result in what? Float. And that float again converted into what? Integer. Can you convert this integer back to string? Yes. By using which function? str function. See, whatever conversion you want to do, you can do it. Okay. Yes. This conversion either you can write here or you can write this conversion after input. See here. This input function. Using input function, you input value or not? Yes. That input value I convert into which type? Float type. Input value is converted from string to what? Float. You can write here also. Float of input. Enter second float value. Input value is converted to what again? Float. And assigned to A variable and B variable. Now 1.5. 1.5 and 1.2. You can see 1.5 and 1.2. And what is the result? 2.7, right? So yes. Now this is a simple example. See, we are working in how many modes in this? Two modes. One is interactive mode and one more is programming mode and or scripting mode. Interactive mode. Interactive mode means you'll be working with the Python shell. Programming mode, where you create a file and write a program and save and execute it. So we are working in how many modes in this case? Two modes. One is interactive and one more is scripting, right? Yes. Next function is, what is the next conversion function is? Complex. What is the next function is? Complex. Okay. Complex function is a okay. Now this function is used. This function is used to create which number? Complex number. This function is used to create complex number, or this function is used to convert other type of values to which type? Complex type. So for that, you are using function called complex. This is having different syntaxes. There's a syntax 1 and there is a complex where you give the real value and where you are giving which value? Imaginary value. And there is a syntax 2 and the complex it followed by value. So how many syntaxes are there here? Two syntaxes. When in syntax 1, you are trying to input how many values? Two values. In syntax 2, you are trying to input how many values? One value. In syntax 1, you are trying to input two values. In syntax 2, you are trying to input one value. Okay, right? Yes. See here, for example, I think we have not done arithmetic operators, right? Okay. So otherwise, what we'll do is, now these functions like complex and remaining conversion functions we'll discuss tomorrow, and then we'll start working with the operators. Okay. How to work with the different operators in Python, right? So today we'll stop it here and tomorrow we'll continue this, right? Thank you. We'll see tomorrow, right? And today I'll upload these notes in the Google Classroom, but tomorrow onwards that Google Classroom also get changed. Okay. So today I'll upload in the old Google Classroom, but tomorrow I'll change to new. That I'll tell you tomorrow, right? Thank you. You ask admin, Prashant Reddy. You ask admin, he'll give. I think you have not selected path. I said at the time of installation, you have to select one option, add path. Okay. You have to set the path manually. Or at the time of installation, okay, one checkbox will be there. Add path to environment. If you select that, see already I've given in the document. Select that. రికార్డింగ్స్ దాంట్లో ఉన్నాయి గూగుల్ క్లాస్ రూమ్ లో ఉన్నాయి గూగుల్ క్లాస్ రూమ్ లో కింద అడగండి వాళ్ళు ఇస్తారు ఎందుకంటే అది లైన్ సైజెస్ ఉంటాయి ఎడిటర్ లో లైన్స్ నంబర్ ఆఫ్ లైన్ సైజెస్ అని ఉంటాయి అది నంబర్ ఆఫ్ లైన్స్ రిస్ట్రిక్టెడ్ ఉంటే రాదు సేమ్